So once again, we are with you, bringing a topic which would be, I am sure and confident, close to your heart. As security professionals, we regularly and naturally crib that people do not understand the importance of security. Yes, people do not understand the importance of security for the reasons that in India, as a society, we do not have security culture. Partly it is our failure. We do not, I am experienced in that way, we do not share with our society members what we do, how we do, and why we do. It is believed that security is job of security personnel. We do not emphasize that even when it is our responsibility, our job, but it is their security. So I, as professional, would look after their security and ensure it only when they want their own security. It may be my job, primarily my job, but it is primarily their security. So to discuss this matter, how to develop India's security culture, we have very eminently qualified Chakradhari, who has consulted extensively in the domain of close protection, installation security, and institutional security. He has designed security architecture and conducted technical training for those protection units that secure VIPs, HNIs, and corporate leadership visiting India. Apart from above, he has been working on his initiative called www.incodeyellow.com that he started in 2018 to help citizens build an awareness about their personal security in their public and private space. So far, the initiative has trained over 1,000 women and kids against physical and sexual abuse and POSH. He is protection and counterterrorism professional trained by ISA Israel and certified security professional. He is also trained in policing and criminal justice by Global Counterterrorism Institute USA. He is also trained for basic airport operations by IATA and aviation security, basics by BCAS, and possesses certificate in border management by RRU. RRU is Rashtriya Raksha Shakti University. Am I correct, Chakradhari? Yes. So India is being seen as soft target and vulnerable, which India remains to terrorist and cyber attacks, which has jeopardized our reputation as a country, as a capable nation to ensure in its security. We have somehow seen as very weak and very vulnerable. In India, we still desire to keep the edge over other competitive markets like Europe and some countries in the Asia Pacific region. There is a need to be having a paradigm shift in the outlook towards its own internal security aspects. So, in the discussion, we will examine the ingredients for building India's security culture. The discussion is organized by ICISS, which is known as a forum, an organization which believes in increasing the skills, competence, and reorient and re-educate, reskilling of security professionals. Our motto is let's professionalize the professionals. So, Chakradhari, you are very heartily welcome. It is my privilege and pleasure to interact, and the subject is close to our heart, my heart, and all security professionals must also be feeling that let's have a security culture in our country. So, how to begin with the security culture? Chakradhari, your time now.
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you for all of those who are here watching us live. So, first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity. This is a real privilege for me to be on this platform and share my 10 cents of experience and opinion on the subject. Uh, Security culture. No, first of all, I think it's very important for the listeners to understand that I do not have a security background. When I say that, I'm talking about I don't come from the defense background, nor do I come from the policing, police sector or any of that sort. Now, I am a civilian who is trained in the security domain, and again, a civilian trained in the security domain by the best on the planet. I consider Israelis one of the best in the domain of security. So I was very fortunate to be in Israel, and this happened during 2016, and it coincided with their Freedom Day, when Israel celebrates their independence and freedom. So what I saw there was fantastic. It was unbelievable. We always talk about how India can be like Israel. How we can behave like the Israelis do against an imminent threat, but we don't really know how Israel became Israel. What went into transforming a civil society in a country like Israel, which is probably smaller than the smallest state of India. But how did they transform? How did this happen? So I learned a lot of what I'm going to share today with you all. I learned it from there. I saw it with my own eyes. So before I can get into the security culture, it's very important that we define what this really is. So I'm going to break this up into two phases. One is security. We'll understand what is security, and then we'll understand a bit of culture, and then we'll understand both together. So security is it is a stitch. I will not go into the academic definitions of these things, but I will try and explain. So even if a fifth standard kid is watching this video, he will understand, because security culture is about anyone and everyone. So security is a stitch. If we look at our clothes, there are a series of stitches that hold two pieces of cloth together. Now there are three kinds of stitches, usually in most of the clothes that we wear. One is a loop stitch, okay, and the second one is a zigzag stitch, and then you have a stitch which is running straight. Similarly, in security, we have three layers of security. We have the national security, we have the internal security, and then we have the personal security. Personal, that is me, all of us. Now, who is responsible for all these three stitches? Like Captain Tyagi just mentioned, that we always, as civilians, we always think that security is the responsibility of the people who are qualified for the job. It's not my job, it's not my responsibility. But that's not really the case, and we'll discuss that how. So, national security is usually seen as the responsibility of the armed forces. That is the overt responsibility, and covert responsibility of the RNAW, that's the raw, and agencies like that which work covertly. Internal security is usually made the agencies that are responsible for internal security are the paramilitary, the police, the CBI, CID, and all these agencies. Now, personal security is something very, very important that we must understand if we were to embark on this journey to building India's security culture. Personal security is my responsibility. My security is my responsibility. It is not the responsibility of somebody else. A simple example being, like, we when we build a house and we have a lot of expensive things in the house, we look for the best locks, the most expensive locks, the most secured locks. Now we don't think that, oh, the police is there, they will take care of the house, and we just don't put a cheap lock to the house. So somewhere we are taking responsibility of our own selves and our own assets, but at the same time we are not taking full responsibility. So it's the responsibility is as in when it suits, our comfort. So that is security. Security is a stitch. Now, what is culture? Culture is primarily, this is again, my way of explaining culture. Culture is three things. It is thought, it is feel, and it is action. And result, of course. The result is the culture in itself. Now, I'll take an example here. Now, in our country, in our rich culture, we bow down and touch the feet of our elders, of our gurus, somebody we respect a lot. Now, that is a culture that we have in India. Now, the thought behind that action is respect. You want to show respect, you want to show gratitude to this person, uh, from whom you seek blessings, and because of the thought, you have the feeling of inner strength that there is somebody out there who's more knowledgeable, who's more experienced, and they are there for you. So it is a sense of strength, and it's also a sense of security that we have, when we bow down to somebody, that okay, there is somebody, they put their hand on your head, they bless you. So there is a sense of strength and security, the feeling aspect. And the action that we do, which corresponds to the thought and the feel, which complements the thought and the feel, is we bow down and touch the feet. Now this is the culture. Now if you bring these two together, if you bring security and culture, which is the security culture. Now what is security culture? Now, security culture is the synergy of the thought, feel, and action of a billion people about their personal, social, and national security that leads to the result of India having a strong security culture. So, security culture is nothing but a billion plus people thinking about security, feeling about security, and taking action together. Now, the word together is very important because we are talking about a culture of an entire nation. It's not about culture about my family or my neighbor's family, it's about nation here. So, that is what actually brings together or puts together the security culture. Now, quickly, just going back to where I started comparing, or sorry, taking an example of Israel. Now, when I saw what I saw there in Israel during the Freedom Day, I could feel, me as an Indian, a non-Israeli, I actually felt that that okay, this is my country. I was getting goosebumps when I saw that when there is a siren, as a mark of respect, they have a siren which is for around 120 seconds, and when the siren goes on, the entire nation comes to a standstill. You will not see a single car on the road. Of course, the time is predetermined, and is communicated to everyone well in advance. So everyone keeps a tab on the time, and by the just 2-3 minutes before, everyone stops their car on the side of the road. They get out of the car and they stand in unity. People who are shopping, they just stop and they stand in unity for 120 seconds, and that was a very, very moving experience for me. So that is, that is what India today really needs. So when we say that India should be like Israel, well, we can be like Israel, but we have to think, we need to feel, and we need to act as one. That is the key to to building the social the security culture. Captain Terry, you're there.
As a security professional, Chakradhari, we see how people react towards security people. They have thousand reasons to criticize. It is only during COVID that common people started realizing the importance of security. They have seen up close that for whatever reasons, and today, after 2 years, we can say for all the reasons and all the seasons, there were security people present. And
Yes.
first interaction people had with the security personnel that changed the perception slightly. But still, people do not feel as if their security is their primary concern and primary responsibility. So there is a concept like custodial security. You got a property, you got an asset, or maybe some valuable, movable property with you. Maybe in the office space or even personal space. In malls also, people leave their valuables and hope that security is going to take good care of them. So, what do you see that paradox will remain, or it is going to change? That they want security and still they are not concerned about their security. So, have you seen early indications that no paradigm is shifting?
Sir, sorry, Captain Tyagi, you've brilliantly pointed out a very, very important shift that is taking place right now. 2 years back, when I think almost 2 years back in 2020, when the pandemic broke out, many of us, we were actually, including me, many of us were really worried about, our security, and about the guards who were manning these posts, and especially when we saw a lot of labor moving away from their workplace, going back to their villages and all that. So most of us really got scared that what if this massive security force, that is the private security industry force, actually decides to leave their post and go back home? What would happen to our entire security setup? And I have to confess, I was so amazed, and I was so proud to see every single of these guards stay put. I hardly heard about anyone, unless there were some cases where there were situations at their hometown where they had to leave their post and go back home. But I would say at least what 90% of the security force, they did not abandon their post. And that was such an amazing thing to see. And that's what, as you rightly said, it brought in a lot of confidence to all these critics, the civilians who are criticizing, who are still criticizing the security agencies. I think it gave them a lot of confidence that, wow, these guys are still there. They have not left their post. But at the same time, it was also very disheartening to see a lot of companies, try to use, to downsize their security agencies in order to cost cut. So that was very, very disappointing to see, because these are the guys who are there, for you, who are standing their guard. So yes, that shift has happened, and I think it is slowly happening. And most importantly, sir, is that it is very important, and I think this is the right time for us to understand that the 1.3 billion people need to take a certain level of ownership of security. It's very, very critical for us to do that, and I'll just share a quick example why. Now 30, 35, 40 years back, if the adversary, or any outside external foreign adversary, was supposed to invade a nation, the only possible way would have been a physical confrontation on the border. That was the only way how an enemy could attack a nation. But today, what has happened, thanks to technology and IoT, Internet of Things, and all that, the adversary has direct access to the civilians of a nation. He can directly breach, the borders don't exist anymore. The civilians of every single nation are standing exposed to the maliciousness of our adversaries. And this is a very, very alarming, alarming situation that we, all of us as civilians, we have to wake up to. So yes, sir, it's very important that civilians take that responsibility, that our security is our responsibility.
So, Chakradhari, you understand, I understand, and more than security professional, safety professionals understand that how people are very irresponsible when it is question of their life, how they react. Every day we see on road, there will be many people who still do not wear helmets. Those driving very expensive cars do not use the safety belts. When it is matter of their life, they are so irresponsible. So safety concerns are overlooked. Similarly, security concerns are also overlooked. For not wearing safety belt, for not wearing helmets, they are challan. But for not being security conscious, there is no challan. So our job is more challenging, more difficult. But then what you say and do, what I say and do, we together and security professionals collectively may make the difference. It is not like NCC and NSS and scouts and guides that we start a campaign and entire society will be law-abiding, security conscious, safety-minded society. So we have to work a lot. So can you mention three main approaches you would like yourself to use and advocate other security professionals also to use for creating security awareness? Three main processes, approach, technology, media, whatever you have in mind.
Sure, Captain. So, before I can answer your question, I would like to touch upon a very small point, which is a very critical point for us to understand. Now, there is something called as a security structure, and this security structure is the main bond, or is the gum, or is the glue that holds the human element of a country together. Now, it's very important for us to understand this, because if we're talking about a security culture, then it's about everyone. We need to understand how we are connecting with the others, fellow beings in the nation. So there are five pillars to this security, to the social structure. The first pillar is care. Second is dependability. Third is trust. Fourth is integrity, and the fifth is respect. When these five elements become absent or deteriorate over a period of time between people, you will notice that there is no harmony among people. And what you just mentioned, sir, that people don't wear a helmet, when it is mandatory. People are not wearing masks, today when you step out, in spite of the numbers spiking and all that, in spite of being a pandemic. So there is clearly a social structure that is weakening by the day. So we clearly, it is very eminent now, and thanks to the pandemic, it's really brought it out onto our face, that we as civilians are lacking care, dependability, trust, integrity, and respect for each other. Now, unless and until this comes together, it will be very, very difficult for us to respect the law. Now, that's another point that I wanted to make, before I could answer that question. From the childhood, we are taught to fear the law. We are told the stories of the policeman who's got to come and take us away, and things like that. And that's the biggest challenge. See, especially this generation and my generation, We always wanted to do something that was, that was being told to us that it is, fear driven. So when somebody would say that, oh, don't do this, something like this will happen, we would go and do that. Any kid would, and especially the current generation will definitely do that. So what we need to change in our paradigm, the first thing is to teach the next generations, the coming generations, to not fear the law, but to respect the law. Now, this is a huge difference, between fearing the law and respecting the law. When you respect something, you obey that. When you fear something, there is something in you, the radical in you tells you that let's challenge this, let's do this. Correct. And that is what is really causing, this social structure to break down, because we are, time and again, we are trying to drive in fear. We are trying to hold people together via fear instead of, respect. Even in today's case, when we're talking about a pandemic, I think we should be talking about why we need to care for each other. If you actually see, Captain, the pandemic has made people the enemy of people. Today, a terrorist need not come from across the border to, threaten my life. My own neighbor, if he's walking around without a mask, he is a threat to me. So this pandemic, this virus, what this has done is it has kind of turned the 8 plus billion people against each other. But that is an awakening we are still to make. So
So, pandemic has done few things good. Not everything was bad during pandemic, and you have mentioned that awareness and response towards security will come out of respect, not out of fear.
yes,
So, respect is developing now towards security professionals in society, in malls, and at any public place. When people interact with security guard, it is with full understanding that the kind of risk, the danger they face, the kind of risk they undertake is immense. When everyone was hiding from Corona, they were there to take good care of common people. So respect is developing, but then awareness is the responsibility of security professionals like you and me. And probably we have reasons to start campaigns, few campaigns, maybe few very, very attractive captions, slogans, posters, short video clips. There are many ways, but best would be when we start telling our family members, telling our children how to be respectful and how to respond to security needs. But when we talk about security needs, probably security professionals somehow fail little bit for others to realize why we do certain things the way we do it. Sometimes we check, sometimes we do not check. And sometimes it appears that we do not check because either we respect or we fear the person in their clear observation. So again, back to creating India's security culture. When we talk about security, you have clarified that we are talking about security, which is per se the security of people.
yes,
Then, secondly, security of person. And today's security of people and security of property, both are linked with security of information. So much we have put in digital world, in virtual world, even access to our houses, access to our computers, and access to our different useworthy properties, movable or immovable. My car very boldly says internet inside. So I need to be very careful about application and connectivity to the car. So again, when a security culture, we are discussing all three aspects of security: person, property, and information is highlighted here. And it is relating to society. Now, question comes from society. If at all I have to be responsible for my security, what security people are going to do? So now it is existential threat. When orientation, the thinking process of society changes, it will also probably change that if at all I am responsible, then those security people are of no use to me. So instead of respecting, they might start sidelining the security as professionals. So again, another paradox emerges. How do you address this?
Well, sir, Captain, that's a brilliant point you brought out. So during my training is in close protection. There was a module where you learn about your discovery meet with the VIP. When you're taking somebody's detail to protect him or his family, you have a small discussion with that person. You brief him on certain things, do's and don'ts, and all that. So one of those points is that you tell this VIP that if he is to empower us to secure him, then he must do as we tell him to do. Now that's a very, very important thing, and I have seen this professionalism in the West. I have unfortunately I've not seen this kind of professionalism as much as it should be in India yet. In India, we are still scared. The security agencies are still scared of their client that can I tell him this? He should not be doing this, but should I tell him? They are still double minded. I'll give you a small example. In VIP security, you tell the VIP's family, especially kids, if there are, that they are not supposed to disclose any of their family's plans or the VIP's plans on social media. They are not supposed to take any pictures of the VIP and tag them at least till maybe 2 or 3 weeks of the scheduled visit is done. So these are the small little things that they are not supposed to declare or disclose even to their best of friends as to what their travel plans are. So as you rightly said, information we are putting out there in the on World Wide Web, and I think it's been more than evident in a few of the cases that have happened down south. I think in Bangalore and Mumbai, if I'm not wrong, where the thieves were so tech savvy that they identified their house that they wanted to break into. They found out the Facebook, the social media accounts of the people of that house, and they were following them. And when they saw the post that, okay, we are going to on a foreign tour, they exactly knew that this is the best time to invade the house. So if such is the security awareness of the people who are hiring us as professionals to guard them, and they are going to feed their vulnerabilities to the adversary, there is no way how even the best of the security professionals can really guard them. These clients would be as good as an insider threat. They are the ones we are protecting, and they are the ones who are leaking out the information to the outside world about themselves and their plans. So this is a very, very important element where the civil society needs to be educated on how and why one must look into their vulnerabilities and must not be in denial of them. Because time and again, when I consult my friends or any of my known people, and they say that CR, why don't you just come and take a look at this factory, and I want you to secure this place for me. The first thing I tell them is the insider threats, because that's where it all starts. And that is where I have faced the maximum deniability. They are like, nay nay yaar, I chose that guy, I hired him. So what is really happening here, Captain, is that these guys are taking it personally. As a professional, when I'm telling them that this person could be an insider threat, just because my friend hired him, he's taking it personally that how can my judgment go wrong? And that's when, you make them sit and you make them understand, no, it's not like that. I'm not trying to question your professional capabilities, but this, as a security professional, I'm giving you sane advice, and this is how it is. So you need to keep a watch on this, and you give them a big list of things they need to watch out for.
Chakradhari, in fact, I had a smile on my face when you were making mention. I remember one of my old friend, and he was in energy. He was making, he was giving a lecture demonstration to that time Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, and his opening sentence was, "The biggest threat to Prime Minister of India is from Rajiv Gandhi." The biggest threat to Prime Minister of India is from Rajiv Gandhi. So there was a pin drop silence, and everyone said that he probably has spoken much beyond his capability, or he is outrightly wonker. Later on, he elaborated that we cannot secure Prime Minister if that person who is Prime Minister doesn't want to be secured himself. So, as famous slogan goes, that security is incomplete without you. So
Yep.
people involvement must be very, very active, and that is why pledge, security pledge, which is now adopted by many organizations. It is started in organization where I worked, and that security pledge is, मैं निष्ठापूर्वक शपथ लेता हूं कि जनता, संपत्ति और सूचना की सुरक्षा एवं संरक्षा के लिए किए जाने वाले उपायों का समर्थन करता हूं और सक्रिय सहयोग करने का वादा करता हूं। तो ये एंगेजमेंट है, पीपल्स कमिटमेंट है। ये जब उनकी तरफ से, when they themselves realize that it is their responsibility, security may be my primary job, but then it remains their primary concern. So they need to be secured. But then, as security professional, we need to have continuous engagement. A campaign awareness program must continue, and the discussion which we have held today, this also goes a long way in creating awareness. There have been many viewers, few of them sent their comments. Probably they were not very conversant that the comments can be made here in the comment box. So WhatsApp, their comments have come, and one question which is again, one of my old security professional friend, and he said that security culture will start from the family. Start teaching your family members, especially children, to be responsible children. They will grow to be responsible citizens, and tell them how to secure themselves at public place, at malls, at schools, at colleges, during the party, after the party. So it is long comment, but then that is still very valid. Probably those are the points you and me have not covered in this discussion. Uh, Probably we could not cover the entire. There is still not many things which need to be discussed with you so far as developing security culture is concerned. Maybe we'll get this in second part, but for the time being, I request you to make your closing remark, please.
Sure, Captain. So I'll quickly just make a small statement on the question that you said. I have a 5-year-old, And what I do as a parent, as a responsible parent, as a security aware parent, is that when we go to a mall or any place, outside public place, we identify a shop, or a post, where I tell my kid that, see, in case we separate, you can't find us or we can't find you, I want you to come to this place, this shop, okay, and I want you to stand inside the shop, because today most of the shops have a security guard, either inside or outside. So I want you to stand inside with the security guard and wait for us. If I can't find you anywhere else, I will definitely come here. Correct? So this is a very, very small step. Now, this is a very, very small thing that I could do as a parent. And the challenge again, coming back, is that I am not in denial that, there of a possibility where we could separate. Anything can happen, suddenly there's a bomb scare or anything, I don't know, and maybe an earthquake or whatever, and people just start running here and there, and maybe the kid is separated from us. So this, these kind of small little things are very, very important, that we teach our kids. And I think what I would suggest, if any college faculties are watching this, or students are watching this, or principals or academicians are watching this, my best suggestion to all of you would be to introduce a basic security awareness training program as a part of the curriculum for your school. That is where we start building the security culture. That is where that we lay the foundation stone. When we create a subject of security, and keep it very simple, let's not talk about national threats and all that. Keep it very, very simple. When you start this as a curriculum in schools and colleges, then you will see that the curiosity that security as a subject can induce into the youth, you will be surprised to see how the youth starts going onto the World Wide Web and starts gathering information for themselves. Because I can bet on this that today any kid who watches one detective series on Netflix or OTT, they will not stop there. It's curiosity. Oh wow, how did this guy find that? How did he do this? How did he do that? So security is a very, very curious subject. So what we need to do as professionals is introduce the youth to this curiosity. And once we do that, then most of the job is done. Then we just need to guide them, through the way. So that was just a small statement I wanted to make on that question. And about my concluding comments, the potential that India has. Now, India, if things done properly in the next 5 to 10 years, Captain, we can become the most secured nation on the planet. And I don't say that just like that out of thin air, but I got facts to prove my statement. India has 1.3 billion CCTV cameras. That's people. We have 1.3 billion people. If these 1.3 billion population can become security aware, it is impossible that we will have somebody walk into a restaurant with a bag, with an explosive, and leave the restaurant with the bag inside. It is impossible that anything wrong can happen around us, because 1.3 billion people can cover a lot of distance. Now we have 1.3 billion first responders. May it be an accident, may it be a case of women abuse, may it be a kidnapping or trafficking or anything, any malicious intent out there in the public. We have 1.3 billion first responders provided. We give them the basic training on how to respond to a given situation. We have 1.3 billion contributors to the economy, national and internal security. But the challenge is they need to know their part. A strong individual builds a strong family. A strong family builds a strong society. A strong society builds a strong city. A strong city builds a strong state. A strong state can build a strong nation. So if you look at national security, it boils down to that one person, that one cell, that is me. And yeah, so that I will conclude with that. So that's my closing remarks. So we have massive potential. We just need to do the right things.
Thank you, Chakradhari. It has been very enlightening, very informative, educational, value immense. This discussion has been very, very satisfying, at least personally to me, and for me, its professional relevance is very high. Our viewers, I'm sure, are definitely benefited by this discussion, and I look forward to further interaction with you. Our viewers are requested to sign in whenever such discussions take place. Ultimately, these are going to be adding skills, knowledge, and a fresh perspective to their professional attitude, because security is all about attitude. Yes, yes, Chakradhari, please.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to share this one thing with your permission. Uh, just wanted to make the viewers aware that, I've started a newsletter where I'm talking about these subjects on LinkedIn. It's the newsletter is Private Security Industry. So it's for anyone and everyone. It is where I share my insights, my lessons from, I have learned from my mentors. And I think, it's free of cost. So it's open for all.
Yes. Uh, Again, for viewers, we have given the links, our LinkedIn group, our Google group, and our channel in International Council for Industrial Security and Safety Management. We have endeavored to reach out to you, hold your hands, share with you what is latest, and also help you professionally. Our next discussion is going to be security in hospitality sector. Thereafter, we'll have discussion on security in hospital, healthcare sector. Both are the sectors where they want security, and they want very, very uh, kind of security operations which are not visible, which should not be seen, which should not be intrusive, yet ensure security, because it is relating to their customer, their guest, and the patient. Both are very sensitive kind of customers when we discuss about hospital and hotels. So hospitality is very unique sector. Similarly, healthcare is also another unique sector. We'll discuss the intricacies of security management in these two sectors. So remain tuned in, subscribe to our channel, and remain happy, healthy, and may God bless everyone.